James Yim Lee was one of Lee's 3 personally certified third-rank instructors and co-founded the Junfan Gung Fu Institute in Oakland, where he taught Junfan Gung Fu in Lee's absence. James was responsible for introducing Lee to Ed Parker, the organizer of the Long Beach International Karate Championships, where Lee was first introduced to the martial arts community. Hollywood couple Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate studied martial arts with Lee. Polanski flew Lee to Switzerland to train him. Tate studied with Lee in preparation for her role in the Wrecking Crew. After Tate was murdered by the Manson family, Polanski initially suspected Lee. Screenwriter Sterling Siliphant was a martial arts student and a friend of Lee. Siliphant worked with Lee and James Coburn on developing the silent flute. Lee acted and provided his martial arts expertise in several projects penned by Siliphant. The first in Marlowe, 1969, where Lee plays Winslow Wong, a hoodlum well-versed in martial arts. Lee also did fight choreographies for the film A Walk in the Spring Rain, 1970, and played Lee Sung, a Jeet Kune Do instructor who teaches the main character in the television show Longstreet, 1971. Elements of his martial arts philosophy were included in the script for the latter. Basketball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar studied martial arts and developed a friendship with Lee. Actor and karate champion Chuck Norris was a friend and training partner of Lee's. After Lee's death, Norris said he kept in touch with Lee's family. Judoka and professional wrestler Gene Lebel became a friend of Lee on the set of The Green Hornet. They trained together and exchanged their knowledge of martial arts. Drug use. In July 2020, a private collection of over 40 handwritten letters Lee made to fellow Fist of Fury actor Robert "Bob" Baker was sold for $462,500 at heritage auctions. These letters were written from 1967 to 1973 and included requests by Lee for Baker to mail him cocaine, painkillers, psilocybin, and other drugs for his personal use. Death. Bruce Lee is buried next to his son Brandon at Lakeview Cemetery in Seattle. On May 10, 1973, Lee collapsed during an automated dialogue replacement session for Enter the Dragon at Orange Sky Golden Harvest Film Studio in Hong Kong. Because he was having epileptic seizures and headaches, he was rushed to Hong Kong Baptist Hospital, where doctors diagnosed cerebral edema. They were able to reduce the swelling through the administration of mannitol. On July 20, 1973, Lee was in Hong Kong to have dinner with actor George Lazenby, with whom he intended to make a film. According to Lee's wife Linda, Lee met producer Raymond Chow at 2 p.m. at home to discuss the making of the film Game of Death. They worked until 4 p.m. and then drove together to the home of Lee's colleague Betty Ting Pei, a Taiwanese actress. The three went over the script at Ting's home, and then Chow left to attend a dinner meeting. Lee took a nap and, when he did not arrive at the dinner, Chow came to the apartment, but he was unable to wake Lee up. A doctor was summoned and spent 10 minutes attempting to revive Lee before sending him by ambulance to Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Lee was declared dead on arrival at the age of 32. Lee was buried in Lakeview Cemetery in Seattle. Pallbearers at Lee's funeral on July 25, 1973 included Taki Kimura, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, Dan Inosanto, Peter Chin, and Lee's brother Robert. Possible causes of death. Lee's iconic status and untimely death fed many rumors and theories. These included murder involving the triads and a supposed curse on him and his family. Donald Tier, a forensic scientist recommended by Scotland Yard, who had overseen over 1,000 autopsies, was assigned to perform an autopsy on Lee. His conclusion was death by misadventure, caused by cerebral edema due to a reaction to compounds present in the combination medication Equagesic. According to autopsy reports, Lee's brain had swollen from 1,400 to 1,575 grams, a 12.5% increase. Lee had taken Equagesic on the day of his death, which contained both aspirin and the tranquilizer meprobamate, although he had taken it many times before. Although there was initial speculation that cannabis found in Lee's stomach may have contributed to his death, Ter said it would be both irresponsible and irrational to say that might have triggered either the events of Bruce's collapse on May 10 or his death on July 20. Dr. R.R. Lissette, the clinical pathologist at Queen Elizabeth Hospital, reported at the coroner hearing that the death could not have been caused by cannabis. In a 2018 biography, author Matthew Polly consulted with medical experts and theorized that the cerebral edema that killed Lee had been caused by overexertion and heat stroke. Heat stroke was not considered at the time because it was then a poorly understood condition. Furthermore, Lee had his underarm sweat glands removed in late 1972, in the apparent belief that underarm sweat was unphotogenic on film. Polly further theorized that this caused Lee's body to overheat while practicing in hot temperatures on May 10 and July 20, 1973, resulting in heat stroke that in turn exacerbated the cerebral edema that led to his death. In an article in the December 2022 issue of Clinical Kidney Journal, a team of researchers examined the various theories regarding Lee's cause of death and concluded that his fatal cerebral edema was brought on by hyponatremia, an insufficient concentration of sodium in the blood. The authors noted that several risk factors predisposed Lee to hyponatremia, including excessive water intake, insufficient solute intake, alcohol consumption, and use or overuse of multiple drugs which impair the ability of the kidneys to excrete excess fluids. Lee's symptoms before his death were also found to closely match known cases of fatal hyponatremia. A legacy and cultural impact. Further information. Bruceploitation and Jeet Kune Do. Lee is considered by some commentators and martial artists to be the most influential martial artist of all time, and a pop culture icon of the 20th century, who bridged the gap between East and West. Time named Lee one of the 100 most important people of the 20th century. A number of biography books have been written about Lee. A biography had sold more than 4 million copies by 1988. Action films. Lee was largely responsible for launching the kung fu craze of the 1970s. He initially introduced kung fu to the West with American television shows such as The Green Hornet and Kung Fu, before the kung fu craze began with the dominance of Hong Kong martial arts films. In 1973, Lee's success inspired a wave of Western martial arts films and television shows throughout the 1970s and 1990s, launching the careers of Western martial arts stars such as Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, and Chuck Norris, as well as the more general integration of Asian martial arts into Western action films and television shows during the 1980s-1990s. Enter the Dragon has been cited as one of the most influential action films of all time. Sasha Matuzak of Vice said Enter the Dragon is referenced in all manner of media. The plotline and characters continue to influence storytellers today, and the impact was particularly felt in the revolutionizing way the film portrayed African Americans, Asians, and traditional martial arts. Kwanixing Chen and Beng Hua Chua cited fight scenes in Lee's films such as Enter the Dragon as being influential for the way they pitched an elemental story of good against evil in such a spectacle-saturated way. A number of action filmmakers around the world have cited Bruce Lee as a formative influence on their careers, including Hong Kong action film directors such as Jackie Chan and John Woo, and Hollywood filmmakers such as Jackie Chan and John Woo, and Hollywood filmmakers such as Quentin Tarantino and Brett Ratner. Martial arts and combat sports. Jeet Kune Do, a hybrid martial arts philosophy drawing from different combat disciplines that was founded by Lee, is sometimes credited with paving the way for the combat sport mixed martial arts, MMA. The concept of mixed martial arts was popularized in the West by Bruce Lee via his system of Jeet Kune Do. Lee believed that the best fighter is not a boxer, karate, or judo man. The best fighter is someone who can adapt to any style, to be formless, to adopt an individual's own style, and not following the system of styles. In 2004, Ultimate Fighting Championship UFC founder Dana White called Lee the father of mixed martial arts and stated, "If you look at the way Bruce Lee trained, the way he fought, and many of the things he wrote, he said the perfect style was no style. You take a little something from everything. You take the good things from every different discipline, use what works, and you throw the rest away. Lee was largely responsible for many people taking up martial arts. These include numerous fighters in combat sports who were inspired by Lee. Boxing champion Sugar Ray Leonard said he perfected his jab by watching Lee. Boxing champion Manny Pacquiao compared his fighting style to Lee, and UFC champion Conor McGregor has compared himself to Lee and said that he believes Lee would have been a champion in the UFC if he were to compete in the present day. Lee inspired the foundation of American full-contact kickboxing tournaments by Joe Louis and Benny Urquidez in the 1970s. American Taekwondo pioneer Jong-Gu Rhee learned from Lee what he calls the acupunch, which he incorporated into American Taekwondo. Rhee later coached heavyweight boxing champion Muhammad Ali and taught him the acupunch, which Ali used to knock out Richard Dunn in 1975. According to heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson, everyone wanted to be Bruce Lee in the 1970s. Current UFC heavyweight champion John Jones cited Lee as inspiration, with Jones known for frequently using the oblique kick to the knee, a technique that was popularized by Lee. Former UFC middleweight champion Anderson Silva has also cited Lee as an inspiration. Numerous other UFC fighters have cited Lee as their inspiration, with several referring to him as a godfather or grandfather of MMA. Racial barriers and stereotypes. Lee is credited with helping to change the way Asians were presented in American films. He defied Asian stereotypes, such as the emasculated Asian male stereotype. In contrast to earlier stereotypes, which depicted Asian men as emasculated, childlike, coolies, or domestic servants, Lee demonstrated that Asian men could be tough, strong, and sexy, according to University of Michigan lecturer Hee Song-chang. In turn, Lee's popularity inspired a new Asian stereotype, the martial artist. In North America, his films initially played largely to Black, Asian, and Hispanic audiences. Within Black communities, Lee's popularity was second only to heavyweight boxer Muhammad Ali in the 1970s. As Lee broke through to the mainstream, he became a rare non-white movie star in a Hollywood industry dominated by white actors at the time. According to rapper LL Cool J, Lee's films were the first time many non-white American children such as himself had seen a non-white action hero on the big screen in the 1970s. Popular culture. Numerous entertainment and sports figures around the world have cited Lee as a major influence on their work, including martial arts actors such as Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen, actor bodybuilder Arnold Schwarzenegger, actor-comedians such as Eddie Murphy and Eddie Griffin, actresses such as Olivia Munn and Diane Doan, musicians such as Steve Aoki and Rohan Marley, rappers such as LL Cool J and Wu-Tang Clan leader RZA, bands such as W, Kamau Bell and Margaret Cho, basketball players Stephen Curry and Jamal Murray, skaters Tony Hawk and Christian Hosoi, and American footballer Kyler Murray, among others. Bruce Lee influenced several comic book writers, notably Marvel Comics founder Stan Lee, who considered Bruce Lee to be a superhero without a costume. Shortly after his death, Lee inspired the Marvel characters Shang-Chi, debuted 1973, and Iron Fist, debuted 1974, as well as the comic book series The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, debuted 1974. According to Stan Lee, any character that has been a martial artist since then owes their origin to Bruce Lee in some form. Bruce Lee was a formative influence on the development of breakdancing in the 1970s. Early breakdancing pioneers such as the Rocksteady crew drew inspiration from kung fu moves as performed by Lee, inspiring dance moves such as the windmill among other breaking moves. In India, Lee films had an influence on Hindi masala films. After the success of Lee films such as Enter the Dragon in India, Diwar 1975, and later Hindi films incorporated fight scenes inspired by 1970s Hong Kong martial arts films up until the 1990s. According to Indian film star Amir Khan, when he was a child, almost every house had a poster of Bruce Lee in 1970s Bombay. In Japan, the manga and anime franchises Fist of the North Star 1-9-8-3-1-9-8-8 and Dragon Ball 1-9-8-4-1-9-9-5 were inspired by Lee films such as Enter the Dragon. In turn, Fist of the North Star and especially Dragon Ball are credited with setting the trends for popular shonen manga and anime from the 1980s onwards. Spike Spiegel, the protagonist from the 1998 anime Cowboy Bebop, is seen practicing Jeet Kune Do and quotes Lee. Bruce Lee films such as Game of Death and Enter the Dragon were the foundation for video game genres such as beat-em-up action games and fighting games. The first beat-em-up game, Kung Fu Master, 1984, was based on Lee's Game of Death. The Street Fighter video game franchise, 1987 debut, was inspired by Enter the Dragon, with the gameplay centered around an international fighting tournament, and each character having a unique combination of ethnicity, nationality, and fighting style. Street Fighter went on to set the template for all fighting games that followed. Since then, nearly every major fighting game franchise has had a character based on Bruce Lee. In April 2014, Lee was named a featured character in the combat sports video game EA Sports UFC, and is playable in multiple weight classes. In France, the Yamakasi cited the martial arts philosophy of Bruce Lee as an influence on their development of the parkour discipline in the 1990s, along with the acrobatics of Jackie Chan. The Yamakasi considered Lee to be the unofficial president of their group. The Legend of Bruce Lee, 2008, a Chinese television drama series based on the life of Bruce Lee, has been watched by over 400 million viewers in China, making it the most watched Chinese television drama series of all time as of 2017. In November 2022, it was announced that Taiwanese filmmaker Ang Lee was directing a biopic on Bruce Lee. Ang Lee's son Mason Lee was cast to star in the movie, while Bruce Lee's daughter Shannon Lee is set to produce the film. In 2024, there was a proposal made to erect a statue of Bruce Lee in San Francisco. Lee's daughter is in favor of erecting it, stating, "The Bay Area is a very rich and vital part of our legacy." Tributes. Underworld pay tribute to Bruce Lee in their song Bruce Lee from their 1999 album Boku Fish, a blend of rock, techno, and guitar riffs. According to Daft FM, the lyrics can be interpreted as encouraging the idea of self-actualization and individuals to be true to themselves, thus paying tribute to Lee's philosophy of empowering oneself and living life to the fullest. Commercials. Though Bruce Lee did not appear in commercials during his lifetime, his likeness and image has since appeared in hundreds of commercials around the world. Nokia launched an internet-based campaign in 2008, with staged documentary-looking footage of Bruce Lee playing ping pong with his nunchaku, and also igniting matches as they are thrown toward him. The videos went viral on YouTube, creating confusion as some people believed them to be authentic footage. List of awards and honors received by Bruce Lee. 1972, Golden Horse Awards Best Mandarin Film, 1972. Fist of Fury Special Jury Award, 1994. Hong Kong Film Award for Lifetime Achievement, 1999. Named by Time as one of the 100 most influential people of the 20th century. 2004, Star of the Century Award, 2013. Statue of Bruce Lee, Los Angeles 2013, Chinatown Central Plaza. Los Angeles, California, number 1. Statue of Bruce Lee, Hong Kong Cell Remarkable for Purpose National Monument, 27M. The Statue of Bruce Lee, Hong Kong Cell Remarkable for Purpose National Monument, number 1 New Answering Machine, 2005, on what would have been his 65th birthday. The day before the Hong Kong statue was dedicated, the city of Mostar in Bosnia and Herzegovina unveiled its own 1.68 m55F bronze statue. Supporters of the statue cited Lee as a unifying symbol against the ethnic divisions in the country, which had culminated in the 1992-95 Bosnian War. Places. A theme park dedicated to Lee was built in Junkong, Guangdong. Mainland Chinese only started watching Bruce Lee films in the 1980s, when videos of classic movies like Fist of Fury became available. On January 6, 2009, it was announced that Lee's Hong Kong home, 41 Cumberland Road, Kowloon, Hong Kong, would be preserved and transformed into a tourist site by Yu Peng Lin. Yu died in 2015 and this plan did not materialize. In 2018, Yu's grandson, Peng Chi-ping, said, "We will convert the mansion into a center for Chinese studies next year, which provides courses like Mandarin and Chinese music for children." Bruce Lee's life was a testament to the power of passion, perseverance, and self-belief. From his groundbreaking martial arts philosophy to his iconic roles on screen, he redefined what it meant to be a global cultural icon. His journey, though tragically cut short, continues to inspire millions around the world to break barriers, embrace their true potential, and live life with purpose. Thank you for joining us in exploring the extraordinary life of Bruce Lee. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories of legends who changed the world. Until next time, stay motivated and keep fighting for your dreams.
Thank you for watching.
If you enjoyed this video and found it inspiring, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest content. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring you more amazing stories and insights. See you in the next video.